With winter on our doorstep, it's time to wrap up tight, but aren't you tired of generic store-bought mitts? Then why not head over to Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Gloves? Grab yourself a deal on a hat out of hell, scarves, boots, coats and more. For crying out loud, these deals just won't quit at Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Gloves. And he won't charge that.
Hello and welcome to Geek and Biscuits. I'm one of the hosts, Grant, and I'd like to say hello to my co-host, co-dad, and co-wife, husband, lover, enemy, Dan. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I think I'm a little. I do apologise to people out there if I do sound a little bit funny, but I do feel like I'm getting a bit of the case of the man flu. So I know yourself's not particularly well, are you? So
it's all that kissing we do.
Well, yeah, all that secret that's been let out the bag. So, Dan, so we're getting in the festive spirit now. So last week we hit the Christmas classic Home Alone.
Yeah.
And this week it's a fairly recent Christmas movie. It's Daddy's Home 2.
It is.
Might be a surprise choice for some. So, obviously we're not going to have to go back in time too much. But what's your first experiences as a child with Daddy's Home 2?
Well, my inner child.
Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah, my inner child. It was something that my other half, Beck, she saw the trailer for. I think it was on Facebook. Just saw the trailer for it and said, "Oh, that looks good." And we're not seeing the first one, so we sort of went, "Well, we can't watch that one. We haven't seen the first one." So we found the first one and really enjoyed that. It was a different kind of comedy to what had been sort of pushed out over the last couple of years. And yes, so just went out on date night. Went to see it, just us two, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's about it. That's all she wrote.
That's it. Yeah.
Not
getting up in the middle of the night to sneak down and watch it.
No, my dad did sneak me off at the age of 35 and sneak me off to the cinema.
Well, I'm disappointed in him. I've not seen the first one. Still not. I never saw the trailer for it. It came out, and I think I saw the TV spots. So which they kind of have to cut. They just show you 2 or 3 little clips, which you don't get no kind of semblance for what the film's going to be about. And obviously I wasn't overwhelmed by them, and I just thought, is it another Will Ferrell 25 shots at the wall and 5 are amazing, 2's okay, and the rest just fall by the wayside. So even though I like Whalberg as well, I just never really got around to watching it. And the second one came out, and me and friend Ben went to we're going to the cinema, and I don't know whether we just decided to go to the cinema and watch that, or whether we wanted to watch a different film and we couldn't get in, so we just decided to watch it. I was really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not watched the first one still, but I do need to see that, and it is on my list to watch. But obviously, I feel that it's not a film that, my experience has been impacted by not seeing the first one.
Yeah.
Although there are a few shots, judging from the trailer, with the escalator and the almost the sun shining, just over the first step and stuff. That's obviously replicated in the first one, and the reference back to dying again, stuff like that. So so I will do that. But it just was one of those films that was just a little bit of fun. It was a bit of fun, and I think the ending kind of it just like kind of you come out feeling just more festive and Christmassy. So it kind of does its job to me.
Definitely.
So yeah, again, mate, nothing too spectacular about it. Just went to watch a film and ended up pleasantly surprised. So the cast. So this is obviously a Will Ferrell movie, but I feel like it's more than a Will Ferrell movie. He does share the screen time with, it's quite a very large cast actually.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice sort of the first one because it's mainly led up by Ferrell and Whalberg. I will say quite happily that I think Daddy Don't 2 is the better film.
Yeah.
And I think it's more because it's ensemble.
Yeah.
I think, and you rely so much on Ferrell and Whalberg because they're at odds in the first one. It's sort of clashing constantly. And Wahlberg's trying out. There's quick story is the first one that Wahlberg's trying to get back in with his ex-wife.
Yeah.
It's not like the idea. It wasn't bothered until his ex-wife found someone new. It just happens to be like so clean cut and completely not him.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite get it, so he goes out of his way to break them up by pretending to be his friend and making out he's changed. But he sort of all the way seems to be helping them along to keep a united front almost. So to have them start, and this is the great thing, to have them start on such a high note, and obviously you've not seen that, obviously you'd be fully aware that they weren't getting on in the first one.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But to have their relationship completely changed by the start of this one, where they're absolutely best buds, they're like BFFs forever, and they're making each other cocoa and and stuff. And it's really nice to see it. It's a credit to whoever when they were writing it to think, what, let's not just make it about these two characters. We've already been there, done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's add a completely another layer by having their dads who are amplified versions of them.
Yeah.
So, and again, sort of similar stories where you've got, Will Ferrell's dad, who's there to be supportive and loving and caring and sharing, and then you've got Dusty's dad, who's doing Dusty's role from the first one. He's trying to muscle in on the thing. But so again, sorry, it's just a credit to it to expanding on that cast.
Yeah, and maybe it's me not doing my due diligence. Well, I wouldn't say that. It's just I came to watch this film almost by accident, and I felt that even though it is on my list to do, my enjoyment of this never changed because of not seeing the first one. So I felt before I did this, I didn't feel like I needed to review that or to sit and watch that because I'd already gone through that process of watching it and understanding the film without it. But just from hearing you speak, I think that's absolutely to its credit. Let's just typical sequel fare. Let's just like slap a number 2 on it and just rejig a few pieces and tell the same story. Well, actually, no, it's adds, like you said, a nice dynamic to things.
It's a credit to it, I think, for that they didn't obviously repeat them. Not only did they not repeat themselves, but like you can watch it and fully enjoy it on its own.
Yeah.
Without seeing the first one. And even though they do drop hints, like you said, the joke about being dead before, it doesn't. You don't need to go out of your way to go and watch just that specific thing to know that he's been dead before. They stated it. That's it. That's enough. It's a joke to go and see later on. It doesn't detract from what's going on.
No, absolutely.
Putting it onto turning it into a Christmas film rather than just being another generic comedy story set at any time really, really helped it along. And I think that's, again, it's like I say, going back to the cast, it takes, Ferrell, I absolutely adore him. However, I will say that in the last few years, because he had a spike, so the early 2000s, like Old School and Anchorman and all these things, and he was everywhere. And like cinema, comedy was all the better for it. But then he sort of got into this trap of almost doing Will Ferrell films, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And Wahlberg sort of tried. He's done dramatic roles. He's done action roles. He's done, so he's had a dab hand at
Yeah, very underrated still, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can switch from that. You think it. What was the one about the Boston bombings?
Yeah, I think that's
Patriots Day.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah. He's brilliant in that. He's
Yeah.
really, really good in that. It's such a good dramatic role. But then you've got him in Ted.
Yeah.
Which is it's just full out.
Well, Wahlberg seems to be. He just seems to be one of those guys that's just happy in life.
Yeah.
Like, I've, people will know I've always said, like, I don't like my films to be political. I don't like to be told what to like and stuff. And that's not from me making a standpoint. That's just from me going, cinema is pure escapism. It's from my childhood to now, and I appreciate that. And he's like, he takes a film role. He doesn't. I mean, he's gone on record as saying that people, like fellow actors, need to just act and not criticising people for having opinions and stuff. But what he said was it comes from a place of respecting your audience, and that's everybody in the audience. And so I really appreciate it when he said that, but I really appreciate that he doesn't like have this ego that like he's too big to star in a film about a talking teddy bear.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? It's just every bit of him, every interview I say, I always think he's very well spoken. It's almost like he knows that he's got it good. Not just he's got it good and he's lucky, because he's very talented as well, in my opinion, very underrated, but he just appreciates what he's got. And he's happy to be where he is.
Yeah.
And I feel that, like, when you watch somebody give it the all like that and stand toe to toe with Will Ferrell, to be fair, as well.
Yeah. I think it really helped that they'd made, I think before these two films, they'd made the other guys. Yeah. So they'd already got a strong relationship.
Yeah.
Based on that. So yeah, to see them working together again, it's just nice. It's a nice pairing. They're good, because it's not just, you don't just rely on Wahlberg to be the straight man, because he's not. He gets equally just as much funny shit to do.
And that's why I think Ferrell's. That's why I like Will Ferrell, because, like you said, he had his breakout hit with Old School, didn't he? But like with Anchorman, we know he's Ron Burgundy and he takes up the time, but he's not afraid to set up his other cast members.
Yeah.
And I think with this film, it shows that he does his Will Ferrell, kind of restrained, kind of bumbling, straight guy, but haphazard in a very Clouseau, like very light Clouseau way. But he's very happy to stand out of the way and let Mel Gibson, take the reins, to let John Lithgow, I mean, brilliant chemistry.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And obviously Wahlberg goes toe to toe with him, don't he? So it's just, it could just, like you said, it could just be, it's all right getting an ensemble film, but, you need kind of everybody on board for that. And Will Ferrell is a very much a team player when it comes to comedy. I think he does truly get like that. It's all right there getting the one-liners, getting the zingers, if that's just one person doing it. And that might be good for an ego, but for the actual film, like with some of his best stuff, like Anchorman and Old School, you actually, he has to play that setup role sometimes and be straight sometimes. And so I really do appreciate that from him as well. But the cast, it is Mel Gibson plays Mark Wahlberg's dad.
Yeah.
And that's just a brilliant piece of casting,
It's really good, yeah.
Again, speaking of people that do dramatic roles usually and try their hand at comedy, it's
That's the thing with Gibson, is that I don't think he's ever, I mean, other than sort of Maverick, I don't think he's done a straight out comedy to my recollection. I think it's all been quite sort of action heavy. But even in like the scene behind the scenes, or I'm sure they worked into one or two Lethal Weapons. He's always doing some kind of Three Stooges routine. I think they even played it into the Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
But he's always doing something. It's a little bit daft and whatever. So to see him, doing a proper comedy for once, and more power to him, because he does play it. His comedy comes from a situational place.
It's dry. It's dark.
Dry, but it works so well. He's very
I think you get that nice little scene at the beginning when they they both come into Brad, which is Will Ferrell's house.
Yeah.
And the grandkids are greeting him. And he's like, they go to John Lithgow's character and they ask him for a granddad joke, and he tells them about he tells them this really it's actually quite a funny joke. And Mel Gibson's kind of riled by that because he's not been around, and he's got this, obviously see a bit of green-eye jealousy. So he's like, right, kids, I've got a joke for you. 2 dead hookers. He has to get stopped before he carries on. And he wants his nickname El Padre. It's, it's just cool. It's just, Mel Gibson's still cool.
What's that intro to it? Sorry, the intro is they both come in. It's brilliant. You know their characters straight away as soon as they come over the escalators, and you get Thunder by AC/DC.
Yeah.
Playing, and it's slow motion. He's winking at the girls, and he throws his bag over his shoulder, and Will Ferrell's just completely like.
His jaw's dropped, isn't he? He's in awe of him. It's
the stuff he says and stuff like saying,
I want to be his friend so badly.
But then equally when Lithgow comes over the top and he's just so lovely, he's waving at people who don't even know him.
Yeah.
It's like pointing and stuff. And then the fact that he runs to when he sees Brad and they run at each other, they full on kiss on the lips.
Yeah, it's a romantic intro, isn't it?
It's yeah. But it fits, and you don't find it weird.
No.
Either. Even though Wahlberg and Gibson are looking at them gone out, you just don't. Don't find it.
It's funny.
They sell it, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. I think the point is you're supposed to be sat there and as an audience member and maybe feel a bit uncomfortable and think, wow, like they're so open. But from a character point of view, it doesn't feel like they're just trying to shock you. It feels like that is normal for those two. Yeah. Completely and utterly normal. And it's innocent and just they just adore each other.
Yeah. It's lovely.
It is, yeah. So then we have Linda
Cardellini,
that's it. Yeah, right. Thanks for the save. As Will Ferrell's partner.
Yeah.
So Mark Wahlberg's ex. Then we have, is it Alessandra Ambrosio? I think she's the model that plays. Yeah, she's for me the weakest part of the movie.
But I suppose she is, but I think they sort of play on that. Like they needed someone sort of stunningly beautiful to almost be a trophy girlfriend, but for Dusty to have to work hard to keep.
Yeah.
But they don't give her much to do, and I think that's probably out of respect for her being a model and not an actress.
Yeah, I was going to say that because the fact is that with Linda, Costa-Colia, Costa Curta. What we see with her is that we get this like kind of a little bit flimsy, like is this person right? Is she writing about me? Is she doing this? What's going off? Where like a lot of the comedy, like you said, is situational. Like you've got the hunting comedy, you've got you've got all this kind of, well, like they say, it's the harbour. It's like all this pent up frustration and this kind of like you've got all these scenarios being set up by the film, but also from Mel Gibson's character that's trying to influence this. So as an audience member, you're waiting for the seams to burst and all the chaos to happen. But then you've got this one little thing that's kind of ticking over, and you just think to yourself, you just ask her, or you just won't care after 2 seconds. And when we get the payoff at the end, it's just almost like not worth. It's like, okay, like we knew that was going to happen, or it's just that to me. I feel that if they had have given, I just felt she maybe deserved a better actress, is meaning it in the most kind sense to her, because like, I agree with you. I think they gave her like as much as she probably could be comfortable with.
Yeah.
And the trophy girlfriend, you're right, but I feel that the film might have been a little bit stronger if they'd have given somebody of equal footing, maybe an actress who could have shared the workload for them to have an actual, do you know what I mean, proper dynamic and sort of actual tension to play off. And then we have John Cena returns.
Yes.
So and the kids are actually quite good. I will have to. I do apologise to people, but I will have to actually check the name of the kids. I don't really remember kids acting, usually because it's not memorable. Scarlett Estevez, who plays Megan, she has some quite hilarious deliveries. Me and my wife were watching it, and there's the bit after she goes hunting, and there's the bit that cracks me up is when she just gets up after shooting Mel Gibson, and she just like takes 2 quick shots and takes out 2 turkeys.
Yeah.
And then it's the hospital the next time where the mum's like, oh my God, she's going to be scarred forever. I'm such a bad mum. And then she's at the hospital, obviously, to see Mel Gibson. She just pops up to the reception and says, I shot a man and a turkey. Guess which one died?
She goes back down as well, doesn't she?
And her eyes are just like full of excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a few things like when she's drunk. That's quite funny as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But I actually didn't mind the kids at all. I thought they were quite good.
Yeah, the same in the first one. You don't feel like a lot of films, especially comedies, you can they put in what you could class as they cast stereotypically funny kids who just come across playing fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time it harkens back to when I think we were watching Run About Doctor Sleep. You said, you don't mind seeing kids get hurt.
Yeah, I would like to say that that's fictional kids, and also the fact that some realism kind of involved, like in this one where the kid's bowling and he's like he absolutely fucking sucks. He sucks, and they don't play it that he turns it around. They actually get him to get 1 pin.
Yeah, but it means everything.
Yeah, it means everything. But that the film doesn't mind you showing a kid's struggle.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the ugly side of it.
Yeah, because he's going through. He's slowly. They're still quite young, but he's on his way up to trying to understand girls and all that stuff. And that's a nice little thing that he's in a time of. It's like a confused state because he doesn't quite. It's when they come out like, to the sex talk, and it's like they're all sort of really worrying about what they've all got a different. This whole sort of sequence about worrying about how they're going to approach it to him, and Mel Gibson's like, "Oh, you're going to do that? You're going to code that this thing, then?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to code that." It obviously both aware that it's an awkward conversation to have.
Yeah,
and they're going to approach it very, very differently. But the fact that he doesn't go straight to his dad for that advice, that he wants to go to Brad because of. I think he's fully aware that Dad will probably push some kind of macho agenda onto him, and like you said, but it turns out that Brad, Will Ferrell's character, is just really the wrong person to go and talk about women because the first thing he goes on about is it's okay to be in the friend zone.
And then there's that hilarious rant of the fact that you'll be invited to the wedding, and they'll say, "Are you really?" And you'll say, "Here's the invitation."
Yeah. But like I said, so it's nice that every character has something to do.
Yeah.
They're not just sort of sidelined, especially with the kids, because, like I said, normally kids can fall into that annoying, you sort of go, "Oh, just wish that bastard little fucker would fuck off,"
exactly.
Just get them out, or something happened to you. Thank God for that. They not need to be in it for the next 25 minutes or. Whereas you genuinely do enjoy watching them as performers.
Yeah.
And again, to be in a film where you've got, especially Gibson, Lithgow, Ferrell, Warburg, and everyone who are quite big names and have earned the stripes, the acting stripes.
Absolutely.
To have these kids be able to play off them in such a funny way as well.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see because it doesn't always hit home. There's a lot of films out there that just, like I said, go for the annoying kid role and because they think that's probably going to be funny.
And it's often plot really devices as well, aren't they? So I was quite happy with that. I think that you're quite taken to the 2 main kids. Well, there's 3 main kids, and you're quite taken to 2 of them. But is it Ariana, the John Cena's kid? She's the one that is a little bit of stereotypical, self-centered, always on her iPhone and not interested.
She fucks with a thermostat. She's a little bitch.
You know what? As soon as I watched that, I was like, "Fucking hell, I'd kill her." Do you know what I mean? I was like, I struggle to sleep if it's warm. I'd be like, "Oh my god!" And then we watched it. Watched it actually tonight before recording this.
Yeah.
And my wife just looked at me and she went, "She wouldn't be doing that in our house." I went, "She'd be out the window, not keeping it open." But you get to see that little chink when in her armour when she touches it down to slightly agrees, and then when she says she doesn't want John Lithgow's character to go, and then when as she interacts with the kids and waves goodbye at them miserably, and they're going home Christmas Day. So it's not played completely like, well, she's the little bitch of the movie. You know, they've got like little facets to them. They're good.
She's got her, like you said, she's got her armour on, hasn't she? She's been her mum and dad are separated. Whalberg's in a very similar position to what Ferrell is in the first one, sort of trying to be the best stepdad he can possibly be, so it's a nice sort of contrast. But you don't hate her for it.
No,
you just think it's funny that she's struggling, but the whole sequence, and I think this is what it's peppered with nice little light-hearted moments to giggly moments, like situational moments. We've all been in, like the thermostat, where they're all coming out and the older dads are panicking.
Yeah.
They're all like, what you like to do? Oh, don't start, don't let us mess around with the thermostat. Does she do that in your house?
Character that's been so soft, and he's the one who's kind of more outraged by it. He's not as angry as Mel Gibson, but he's like, "Please say it's been some misunderstanding, Rusty, whatever his name is," and he's like, "No, I'm in a kind of like, what kind of situation are you in?" And he's like, "We might as well just give you your keys and your wallet." What?
But it's like sort of see all that sort of mad panic. But then you get the over the top, outrageous comedy moments.
Chopping down the tree, the
snowblower eating up the lights. So it hits as a comedy. It works, in a lot of different ways because it's got something for everyone. People like gentle comedy. Some people like, there's not so much gross out in this, but people like extreme comedy. So it's nice to have different facets.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you're right. You do get this silly, you also get the silly, wordplay, which I do find quite. Some films, it really frustrates me when it's in, but I think Will Ferrell films, push it as far as it can go. Like the Coco scene. Like he spills cocoa on him. Well, I thought you would give me cocoa. Why would I do that? And it's like the kind of over-explaining to make it funny. I think Will Ferrell's, in quite a lot of his films, have a good understanding of how far to take that to keep it funny. Whereas I don't know if you've seen any. I forget what it was. It's a Paul Rudd film. I don't know whether it's something 40. Is it?
This is 40.
That's the one. Yeah. And there's a scene with, I think, Melissa McCarthy and not nothing against her, but she's her and Paul Rudd are back and forth for a while. I'm sure it's Melissa McCarthy and Paul Rudd. I do apologise if it's not quite. I know it's Melissa McCarthy. And it goes on and on and on, and you just think it was funny for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, when you've got so much more different kind of little type of different parts of comedy. So like you said, you can sit and you can, watch a bit of wordplay, watch a bit of situational comedy. You don't want to be then watching a film that then almost feels like you're watching an outtake or an ad-lib session.
Yeah.
It's detracting, and films do get, a lot of modern comedies do get suckered into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I was quite impressed with that. And it is a family film. It's very friendly for the family to watch, and it is sentimental at times, but I think it's got enough dark or mean-spirited humour, actual comedy humour. Comedy there's always got to be a victim in comedy, and whether that's Will Ferrell or even the kids at the time, the kissing his sister and stuff. I'll always laugh at them. This is 2017. It came out in 2017, and they've got references to Snowflake. We've got a male child in line to kiss our male character who just like kind of smiles at the camera. All stuff that actually, even though it's not that offensive, they could have easily gone, you know what, this isn't the kind of film, we don't want to put these little references or things in, but actually it doesn't hurt anyone, and it's, and I think that the film's better for it. Like you said, it kind of throws it casts its net out, and it catches a bit of whatever it brings in, it catches a bit for everybody to enjoy, and it's not afraid to take the piss.
Oh, definitely not. And I think that's why it works being a Christmas film, and it's the not just they take the whole idea of bringing family together, these two families together, but by adding Mel Gibson's character into it, and having someone who doesn't fully understand this modern way of thinking, where stepdads are allowed to get on, so stepdad and biological dad are allowed to get on and whatever. And obviously having John Lithgow who's completely accepting of that situation, and it's full on. He's not just step granddad to these kids; he's Poppy, or whatever they call it, Poppy or Pappy or something like that. So it's it could have easily gone down your typical Christmas comedy route as well, and missed out on the heart. It could be, but it's because it circulates the family completely. It never veers away from a family member at any one time. There's nothing to do with. It's never one of them interacting massively with an outsider to get a good few laughs. It keeps it within that family structure. You're completely engrossed in them being a family, if that makes sense.
Absolutely,
So you put all your emotional stock in them, because you want it to, for the best intentions, you want it to work out for them. Even when they're falling out, you do genuinely think, oh, come on, get it together. And there's a bit sort of towards, as you get towards the final act, when they have all fallen out again, it's Mel Gibson's plans worked its magic. They've managed to find out that John Lithgow's, he's lied to Will Ferrell about him being divorced from his mum, because he holds them in. So everything he bases his family on is based on what happened to his mum and dad. So that there's a massive breakdown there. No one trusts each other anymore. There's a big fallout, and it gets to a climax that could have been so overly saturated with cheese. And don't get me wrong, it does veer on the cheddar. It does sort of hit, but somehow, because of what you've gone through, it saves itself from going too far over the edge.
I think it's got just enough of, like you said, it's got just enough kind of mean-spirited stuff in there towards the end, and like you said, it's gone through all those arguments that you wish it to get back together. And I always think that a Christmas film has more leeway, in my opinion, of having a cheesy magical ending or something, because that's the spirit of the season. But I think you're right as well, because I think I know I keep harking back onto it, but it just shocked me in a comedy nowadays that there's this much mean spirit. And like you say, it's not gross out or anything, but it is almost like if I said to you, oh yeah, this was like 2002 or 2005, I could have believed it, or you would have believed it if I'd have told you. And I think, like, for me, what I enjoyed about it, they didn't push Mel Gibson to be this perfect person afterwards. It's still like something to work towards, kind of a good target. But also, the film didn't come down and go, everyone's got to get along, or the progressive parenting is the right thing. Like, it literally just says this family or extended family think differently, but they're still family, and you get on. It doesn't tell you what to do. It literally, and for a comedy touching on those subjects, it actually avoids that, and it just kind of says, have a good time with us. Family's family. Let's all get along, and that's that. I think that again, it helps the ending, and it helps the film, because you're brought into that escapism. And I always talk about it with Christmas, like I've just said, like, you don't want the cheesy end, in film, you want the actual ending, and not just a cheesy kind of tap to yourself on the back, there you go. We all watch films, don't we? Like, I used to watch Never Ending Story, and I'm like, please, every time I'm like, hoping the horse doesn't sink, Artex. You know it does, but you know it's good for you. It's not what you want, but it's what you need, and it's what the story needs. And the film, like with Christmas, it can and it should deviate towards a little bit of what you do want.
Yeah.
There's only one time a year. It happens once a year, Dan. We both love Christmas and stuff, and it should be that. But it doesn't need to get preachy, and no film should. Even when you have like great films like Scrooged or Scrooge, just the tale of Scrooge, it tells you he should be a better person, not you.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, maybe they're onto something. You decide, don't you, from stuff?
Yeah.
Like you interpret.
Well, that's the thing. It's their growth as characters, and they all do. You know, they all sort of come to terms with different things. But it's that whole, you know, when John Cena turns up with his daughter in the cinema, you know, they've had to come out of watching Liam Neeson in Miss Alto, and the greatest film never made. You know, and it's that whole. It could have been so schmaltzy, but it harkens back to, like you said, Scrooged, in that ending, and that it just sort of lets it sort of run away with itself in such a wonderful way. And they sort of talk about Band-Aid throughout the entire film. That comes part of the issue between Dusty and his dad.
Yeah,
is that, you know, he was supposed to be singing the Bono part in high school. Completely missed it because his dad was too busy running off with some woman, you know, someone else's mother.
Distracted him, and
and that sets up their relationship and where they're close. But, you know, sort of by not becoming his dad, by turning around to John Cena's daughter and saying, like, I'm going to hit you with this really hard, is a bit, you know, something's going to really shock you. I love you.
Yeah.
And she's like, they don't say, no, I do. And it turns around, and John Cena's like, what do you say to my daughter? He goes, you know what? I love you too.
And it's not cheesy, is it? It's like he's got that kind of stern, like, and you're going to listen to what I'm going to tell you. So it's not like he completely softens. He's great. Yeah.
It's still like, you don't want to stand face to face with John Cena because he's a mountain of a man. But it's like, you know, he's still sort of takes it back a bit. But
he's the body double for Kang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think. He has Kang in his chest all day.
Oh, if ever the casting for another Turtles film, it's there in it. It was. It's that, you know, he's about to walk out. You know, his daughters. He says, "You spend Christmas with your mum," and the whole idea is, "No, we want you to spend Christmas together." And it's a bit like, reminds me of sort of Step Brothers with like Time to Say Goodbye. It takes Will Ferrell to get up on a platform and start singing. And when he starts, you know, it's Christmas time, there's no need to be afraid. And it's like,
Roger.
No. It's like, no, don't you dare. You know, and again, it's just like, it's brilliant.
It is, and it's the bit that made me laugh at the cinemas, because when that happens, part of me is like, no other film could get away with this, no other genre. So you're like kind of a little bit giddy because you're in the festive spirit and stuff. But also the bit where he's singing, you're like, you know, this is good. It's going to set up to be good. But also when John Cena just goes, damn, this is my favourite song ever.
Because he says something like, I'll listen to this in August. I don't care. But yeah, it's like they get everyone on the platform. Again, like I said, in any other film, you'd have gone, oh, really? Yeah. But like I say, because it's a Christmas film, it's just like when they start singing, the power comes back on, all the Christmas tree lights up, and, you know, this cinema chain, this show, you know, showcase cinema or whatever it is, in the middle of a whiteout, it's just throwing free food at everyone because that. But it's Christmas, so you don't care. And all the family get up, they all sing a little bit of the song, and they're sort of, you know, waiting on Whalberg to finally get his, you know, tonight, thank God it's them, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then, moment.
But even Mel Gibson, you know, let them know it's Christmas time.
Everyone gets a bit, mate. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's just uplifting, and like you said, it works because it goes balls in for it. And it's earned that before, because it's like, it's the sweet and sour from Vanilla Sky to me. You don't have the sweet without the sour, and you get so much like you said, they don't just fix it by Christmas Day. They're miserable. You get to see them like travel back in the car, get caught in the snow, watching a film. John Lithgow's told off like 3 or 4 times from Will Ferrell, and every time you're like, oh, it feels harsh. You know, they're so close. So we get this, like, do you know what I mean? You get the subplot with the girls teasing the little lad about the kissing the little, bless her, Asian girl that's had her eye on him all film. So it's like you've always kept waiting. It's not just this big resolution straight away. We're still kind of like finalising little things that's gone off. So we're still going to get the end of John Lithgow going 360 degrees to wanting to fight and get physical with his son. Do you know what I mean? So all that little build up where maybe a different film could have like cut a little bit of that out and just resolved it all together in one big group hug. It works perfectly, and they're not shy. And they wear it on the way they are on the sleeve, and that's what makes it work. It's fantastic.
It's random bits in it that I love. Like when they go to chop the tree down, and Mel Gibson's like, he's like whispering in Mark Wahlberg's ear about don't follow the rules, don't do this, and he goes to Ferrell and he's like, oh, Dusty says you can't do this, you're not really a man if you do. It's sort of playing them off against each other. So he bigs them up to chop that tree down. Obviously it's a phone mast, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it gets electrocuted. But it's a funny side of it because how far he flies, and they're not concerned about bringing him back round straight away.
It's not cartoony at all, though, is it? He just flies with his arms like it's like he's completely dead. It's like he's gone.
It's like they're sort of arguing over what it's like. Oh, what's happened now? And Wahlberg and Gibson are arguing, or he's still technically dead.
You want him dead. I want him dead.
Yeah, but it's later on when they're all like, Linda Cardellini comes back and she's looking at the thing. Oh, what's happened here? And they're arguing. And he goes, has anyone seen Dad? And it's only then you realise John Lithgow's not been in it for the last 5 minutes. So they go back into the woods and find it. He's face down in the snow, being tugged on by wolves.
Don't look the alpha in the eye. I already did.
It's like he takes it. John Lithgow takes it in his stride. He gets up. He's all like snow burnt. His face is like, oh, I just got lost. I couldn't find you. So no
panic, fellas.
But then they sort of take it up one bit further where they're trying to warm him up, and Mel Gibson can't get his boot off. And then when he finally gets his boot off, his foot's black. And it's like, Jesus, I think that foot's gonna have to go. Because no, I'm a postman. I think it was a postman's foot or something like that. Yeah. It's like a badge of honor for all ex-postmen. It's like, I really need to cut that off. It's just black. It's just like a massive callus.
It's brilliant. My favourite scene, apart from the ending, is the one where they're in the nativity scene with the snowball fight. I think that's hilarious. I think it's just brilliant. It's classic. It's classic Ferrell, but everybody else shines as well in that. Yeah. Like the kids are fantastic when she's drunk. Yeah. And it's like kind of the. It's the storm taking place, isn't it? Of the breakdown of all the characters. So that's, I think, I watched it a couple of times last year because it was the first time I watched it from the cinema, and I watched it with my wife. And then my sister came to visit me in the last year as well, and we all sat and watched it. So with my niece, a friend came up with her daughter, and pre-COVID life that we used to have. And that scene always gets the most laughs because you get a lot of laughs at the end scene, but you also get that it's like heartwarming, isn't it? It's lovely and Christmassy. Yeah. But there's that, but for me, the scenes where he just takes him to one side and he's like, the only person that can ruin Christmas for you is in that mirror.
All I can see is you.
Whichever way he stands, that's just silly humour, but
but it's nice, like so after the whole big Christmassy ending, that like you said, they've had a bit of growth, and right at the start, John Lithgow comes across and he says, "Oh, you said, how was your flight?" He says, "Well, I take the most connections I can, so I can talk to the most people, because I find people fascinating." And in a way, it can come across a bit weird, but it's such a nice idea that he's that interested in other people, whereas Mel Gibson scoffs at it and thinks he's just weird outright.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're a lunatic then."
Yeah. But then at the end, they sort of, because Will Ferrell's mum's coming over with a new fella.
Sorry.
Yeah. And, Jonathan goes, "Oh, I better, your mum's coming, I better go because I don't want it to be awkward." So he gets on the escalator back with Mel Gibson. And it's like, so are we going to be traveling together? Yeah, but I switched to flights, so we're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Have you ever spent New Year's in Vegas? Or like, you're going to love it. So it's nice that they're off together, to do something. But it's that last little gag of when Sully comes over the escalator with his mum, and there's that limo driver who you get that shot of him like smiling in slow motion, nodding with his teeth out at Mel Gibson. He's back at the airport doing exactly the same thing. That always gets me.
It does, yeah. It gets me.
It's just like a random insert where you just think, that dude again.
And even Will Ferrell's perfect delivery of "nope."
Yeah, it's such a childish. Actually, you go through all this personal growth, and he's accepted his mum and dad's situation. He's not happy about it, but he's accepted that, and Wahlberg's building him up. Saying he might be all right. It's like, Sully, what? Who's that? Yeah, Miracle on the Hudson. Well, I took you to see that film. Watch the film about it.
Get free tickets. Tom
Hanks. It was great. You loved it. Oh, that's him. Yeah. And it's like, oh my god, it's like she's dating a hero, and like you said, she walks up and like, you must be. Well, it's like, nope. And he walks up. You never replaced my dad.
You've got one great story. My dad's got millions.
But it's so true to his character.
Yeah,
but how it just sort of descends back into like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's lovely. It's just great.
It is. It's a little. I mean, I think from my point of view, I think we've probably discussed the film probably for everything that I'm happy to say. I think I'm ready to go to the ratings, and so I personally, Dan, would say that it's probably going to be the lowest rated film I've done. I'd probably give it a 4 biscuits. So that's low. But it's one of those where we always talk about ratings, and we've given a lot of golden biscuits out, given a lot of 5 stars and stuff. But we always say that like a 5-star film for me, so something like Deep Rising, which I'd give 5 stars to, and The Thing. When you watch the film, obviously like if you're watching The Thing, I can say to you that is a benchmark in horror.
Yeah.
Deep Rising isn't, but Deep Rising it surpasses what it can do or should do. So like with this, it's like the film to me does surpass it, because to me this could easily have been one of the films that's on like your Christmas channels and stuff like that, and it surpasses it. I think the Metacritic score's 30, so low. It's ridiculously low. The audience scores much higher to just below average, which I think again for a film like that is really good actually. But for me, I would say that it just there's only so much you can do with a premise like that. It's not going out to be the best film ever made. It could easily have fell very flat. So I think there's obviously a few. I think there's a little bit where they're in the hospital and that like sags maybe. I think it could trim off maybe 5 minutes, and then it'd be one of them films you could just put up and watch as many times as you can. It doesn't want to be the best film ever made. It doesn't want to, compete with Lord of the Rings. It doesn't expect to be even the greatest Christmas tale. What it expects to give you is some good family fun with a little bit of festive cheer and a little bit of naughty comedy at times, a bit of everything for everybody. So I'd give it 4 out of 5, and that might seem low to people because we have reviewed quite a few films, and quite some of them are classics. Let's be honest. Jaws, Evil Dead, stuff like that. So I think I'm happy with that score, and I think people shouldn't be put off if they've not seen it by it's only four.
No. Well, for me, I'm completely agree with you. It's 4 out of 5. It just by a few beats, and it's nothing. I'm not being overly critical, but I think it just misses those little bits that make it a Christmas classic. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't watch it every year. I think even if we hadn't decided to review it, I'd still probably come across it this year. But there are other films that I would seek out if I only had, if I watched a film a day throughout December up until, Boxing Day or to New Year's, it wouldn't be straight on my list.
No, of course.
I could, I could argue that there might be 3 versions of A Christmas Carol. Probably 4. I mean, I've already watched one, and I've still got. I watched the George C. Scott one.
Have you got the Kelsey Grammer one?
No, I haven't, but I've seen it and it's great. But I've got at least Muppets, the Disney Jim Carrey one, and the Alistair Sim one to watch. So I've got at least another 3.
Yeah.
But they would be probably on my list. Even though it's the same story, I just love them anyway. So probably they're on my list above watching. Sim 2. So I think it. Just misses out on, for me. It might seem a little bit petty to people, but on my list of films I have to watch every year to get me in that festive spirit, it wouldn't quite hit like a top 10 or anything.
Oh no, I completely agree.
And it's a film that I think, even though it's got a Christmas setting, because it's a sequel to a non-Christmas film, you could quite happily watch it any time of year. Whereas,
I think the braver thing would have been for them to call it a Codad Christmas or something like that. And it's a sequel or it's in the same universe, but it's not necessarily a 2 attached to it.
Yeah. But I think, I say, just because of, it's not just because of that. I think, like I said, it
doesn't have ambitions to be bigger, though, does it?
That's it. I think you're right. I think it doesn't sort of. I mean, strain itself. It doesn't sort of like push itself into being something different. It's quite happy in what it is. No, that's a bad thing. It's not a negative thing.
No, absolutely not.
But the only formula change it does is to say it at Christmas.
Yeah.
And I could quite happily say it is better than the first one.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that is because of the added actors, because it's the setting, because how much I love Christmas time. So like I say, it stands on its own 2 feet quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've not seen the first one, so yeah.
And it is really enjoyable. And that's like you said, I don't want people to take away that it's not a film you should go. You should go and watch it because it's a really good film. It just doesn't have that. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a modern thing because I rely on nostalgia. What Christmas films I rely on nostalgia and stuff that I loved as a kid. Even though like Santa Claus the movie isn't the best film ever made, I would watch that every year.
But I think you've probably hit on something we haven't spoke about very quickly is identity. Is that it doesn't have a identity that makes it stand out from the crowd, does it? Its focus is not around Christmas. Actually, it's just the setting, like you said. So maybe that is a big part of it too. I like Fred Claus. I watched that in 2007. I went to the cinema to watch it, and that is on my list to watch. And again, it's not groundbreaking or anything, but I get to watch a cynical twat like Vince Vaughn pick Christmas apart and then come away, in my opinion, because I love Christmas, people should appreciate each other a little more, and he does. And I think that because it has its identity firmly wrapped around Christmas, is much more identifiable for people to watch at this time of year. But also you get a sense of focus from the film. You get a sense of, I feel great about myself now and I'm excited, whereas that film, I think it's more, the end part's fantastic, but I couldn't help but feel that it could do with trimming in places and where it misses the mark, because it's not just about Christmas, it's about this family dynamic, and that's great.
Well, like you said about the Linda Cardellini subplot, you could easily just and it's a shame because she gets a good couple of lines in and she's a great actress, but it's not important to that role.
There's one bit that makes me laugh, and I don't know about you, but it's I relate it to my wife and to my sister, is where he's going in for his first kiss and she grabs Wolfram. She's like, where's my phone, where's your phone? And then she just slaps him across the face and he gives her his phone, and it's just like, it's how typical is that of some of people at the minute, and it's really, always gets a little giggle out of me. But just to end it, I think nostalgia is a massive thing around Christmas, but not always. I think you can easily go back and go, I really want to watch this, but you see its flaws.
Yeah.
I think Christmas is about, we have Die Hard, and Die Hard to me is not a 5 out of 5 or a Golden Biscuit or whatever it is. I mean, we know it's obviously a classic, but it's not that for its Christmas elements.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excuse to watch it Christmas for me. And yes, it is a Christmas movie, but it's not made with the intention of being solely a Christmas movie.
No.
So I can call it Christmas, like Daddy, and that's like Daddy's Home 2 to me. It's not solely a Christmas film. It is intended more to be that, but it's not. It's like at odds with itself a little bit.
Yeah, they could have easily just sent them to Caribbean, or
it could have been a Thanksgiving, Easter film, anything.
Say it didn't necessarily have to be an holiday, could it? It's just like this family trip to wherever. Yeah. The outcome is still the same, apart from them singing, Live Aid, well, Band Aid, sorry.
Band Aid.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have even got some kind of wacky practical joke where the endings it's taken a real freak nature of weather, and they've taken up stock in a supermarket that's stocked out for Christmas, and then Band Aid comes on and it's his favourite song, because he listens to it in August. So you could have got any crazy thing set up. It's almost like a unsophisticated, elonged episode of Frasier when they used to go to the cabins. It feels a little bit like that.
I'm not geeky.
All the testosterone, all the hormones racing around here tonight, and none of it was for me.
That's amazing. But again, I think that's it. Sorry to interrupt. I quite happily watch it again. But you just we were talking about this about Frasier before, and that I would probably choose the Christmas episodes of Frasier to watch.
Yeah.
Over, and that's what I say. It's not any detriment to the film, but it's not, because, like you said, identity, because it's not firmly a Christmas film. It's not firmly just a comedy either.
No.
That's probably why it misses the mark.
I think it's great for when we had my sister and her friend over and everybody, because it's so easy to watch. But if it's me on my own, it won't be watched. It'll be, I'd probably watch the ending on YouTube every year for a good laugh and stuff. But it would be like Scrooged or you're Married with Children episode that riffs on A Wonderful Life, films like It's a Wonderful Life, maybe the Scrubs Christmas special, the Frasers. Like you said, there's so many good Christmas stuff around. So it's got to be special to earn that place now. Anything else? So no Golden Biscuit this week, I'm afraid, but still worth a watch. Well, thank you very much.
No, cheers, mate.
And we're getting closer to the big day.
Not long now.
No. So, and I want to just say thank you to everybody that does watch us or listen to us, or pauses us, print our faces out, put them on the wall and throw darts at us. You're all appreciated. If you would like the video, that'd be fantastic. It helps us grow. Subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything we've got.
You just made me think. I'm sorry to interrupt the goodbye and everything. It's just made me think that with you saying people cutting out of faces, that there's some guy somewhere like Jed off of Alan Partridge who's got an entire room and it's like all your face all over, and then I had that one picture of David Copperfield.
Yeah,
that's just me on top of the table. So is that a picture of Dan? They say, "Oh yeah, I like him too, but not as much as I like you, Graham."
That's brilliant. So everybody like and visit our pages. Not you though, Jed, or still like us, but we do appreciate your interaction, engagement, and like we always say, comment, let us know if you agree or disagree, or you think Daddy's Home 2 should have had a Golden Biscuit and we're just stupid, which 50% of that may be true. So, and again, if there's any suggestions, just let us know. And I'll end it there, Dan. I'd just like to say again, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to next week's film. That could be a very interesting one.
Sound of Music.
Oh God, Yeah. On that note, I will see you next Sunday, my friend.
Yeah, take care, mate.
Might not be Sunday in YouTube town, but it's Sunday when we get together.
Take care, mate.
You too. Bye-bye.